So in this weekend project, I wanted to make a loudspeaker which will be able to run from my power bank, because these batteries are becoming very popular and they are actually kind of efficient. In this week, I'm going to design a loudspeaker which will be able to run through a power bank and also can get enough loud to actually fill a room. The primary reason why I am doing this because we watch kind of matches on TV, etc. Recently I was watching World Cup on my television, but then it's kind of rainy and everything blacks out because the dish doesn't work in rain. That's why I have to tune in my phone through a live app, and there I could listen nothing but only the noise, because my phone speaker, anyone's phone speaker is not that loud. So that's what I wanted to design, a portable speaker. Well, that will be cheap because I'm not using any Bluetooth module and something like that. So let's get started. First of all, I tried to design my own amplifier, but after a couple of times I failed. Absolute garbage. I'm just starting to believe that this thing shouldn't be named as amplifier, rather a couple of different filters. Doesn't work at all. And then I found the amplifier for my old speaker, and look what I've got. This is the old speaker which doesn't sound good, I remember, and two loudspeakers. I cannot see the rating though, but maybe we can use this pre-made amplifier, or maybe beef it up to produce better sound. So let's test the first time how it sounds. So you have to open this thing up to actually use it with my DIY power supply. Well, you think I gave up? Then probably you were wrong. I have no time. I have to complete this project before my university opens again. And that's why I'm going with this pre-made amplifier. But very soon I will design my own amplifier, which will be much more powerful than this tiny one. So stay tuned. And after another 5 hours, I am here. I'm providing 5 volts through my power supply down there because I'm going to use it with my power bank, and I'm also monitoring the current right there. Set it to milliamps, and so that we can see how much current it is taking. So let's switch it on. While idle, it is taking around 10 milliamps of current, and when playing some audio, it's jumping according to the audio wave. As you can see, everything is kind of okay, and as you can see, the audio, according to the amplification, the current also changes. And I wanted to measure the maximum current it takes. For that I have to max out the volume. absolute garbage. In lower volumes it's kind of okay, but as soon as I pump up the volume, the sound muffles. And I've seen that while pumping the volume to max, the max current it draws is around 100 milliamps, which is just fine for using with my power bank. And also we could reduce the muffling by switching off this bass knob. You can see right here. As I pump up the volume again, you can see, you can listen the volume muffling, sound muffling, but as soon as I turn off my bass knob, see, it solved most of the muffling. So, kind of success you can say. As soon as I turn off the bass, the sound stops muffling. This is a good speaker maybe, but not with bass. If you want bass, you will need another different amplifier. Kind of good. For the design of the speaker, I figured out these things laying around, and as you can see, this is the dinner set, the covering of the dinner set, and you can see right here, these are two holes. The whole thing is made up of styrofoam, so I can cut this thing pretty easily. And as you can see here, I wanted to place my speaker. So here are some time-lapse shots of building the speaker. So as you can see, my speaker is actually hollow in bottom, so actually I have to seal it properly to get good sound depth, and for that I'm actually covering this thing up with another piece of styrofoam in there and creating another section, a separate section for the amplifier. Here I have a little cutout so that my wires just goes out from here. And this is actually my right audio out, and here is my power. I have to extend this wire a little bit and connect the USB port right here, and here you can see the left out, which I've not connected yet. I have to connect it, and here's my input. So that's basically completes our amplifier section. And now my whole room is covered with dust and dirt and and still I'm not finished. What's the time now? This thing nearly took 15 hours and it's still not completed. What the? And then actually I ran into a problem, and this is kind of a problem which I cannot figure out how to get rid of. And the problem is my power bank is kind of intelligent, and it turns itself off when the phone is full charged. Now you may ask how it understands this, that the phone is fully charged. Now it does that by calculating the current draw from it. When the battery reaches 100%, it draws a minimum amount of current, and by which it has a kind of threshold by which it understands that the battery is fully charged, and as soon as the current draw reaches that threshold, below that threshold, it turns itself off, just like that. But the problem is that these batteries, when they are charging, they draws around, maybe my battery draws around 1 amp, and my amplifier is drawing 10 milliamps in idle. So it's detecting that the battery is fully charged because the current draw is below the threshold value. So it's turning itself off, and that's why I call
Don't be over smart.
there is only one way to fix this, and that is increase the current draw. This is not the best solution I can find to this problem, because this is the only solution to this problem, and this is least efficient solution, because this is what I did. And as you can see right here I have placed 3 resistors in parallel. Each of those resistors are 270 ohms. I have figured out that when I turn on this amplifier, the normal current is around 10 milliamps, and so these 3 resistors solves the problem. Each of those resistors actually adding an extra milliamp of around 20 milliamps. So putting 3 of them in parallel means around 60 milliamps, and that's exactly fine. And when the amplifier is idle, it's dragging around 10 milliamps. So the total current it actually drags with these 3 resistors plus the amplifier in idle is around 70 milliamps. And when I play something, that 70 actually goes up to something around 85, 90 or 100 milliamps, and which actually keep this battery on without letting enter to the sleep mode, which is just fine. And this resistors increases the current draw by just dissipating the extra power by heat, and that's the total wastage, total bullshit. So now you may ask, I'm using a battery, so how much time the speaker will run before it runs out of battery? So basically, let me tell you, according to my calculations, even if it draws 200 milliamps, which it doesn't, at the idle, after using those pesky resistors in there, it draws around 70 milliamps, and while playing the audio, it, as I've shown you, it jumps around but never reaches 200 milliamps. It's around 150. Sometimes the max volume I pumped it out, it's actually drawing around 150 and jumping around from 100 to 150. So even if we take 150 milliamps from it continuous, then also it will run for 33 hours. And if it draws 200, which is not gonna happen, but still I'm considering, even if it draws 200 milliamps current, then also it will run how much? 25 hours. And according to my opinion, let's kick out the 200 milliamps and consider that 150 milliamps, because as I've told you, it jumps from 100 to 150, not even always 150. So even if you take 150, it runs for 33 hours continuously. Actually, it's 33.33. So, and according to me, this is a pretty long time, isn't it? Who watches live streams for more than 33 hours? And that's why I told you at the beginning of this video, these batteries are actually efficient. Look at my leg. What the f? What the f? Even my face is covered with sh. If you really care about my passion, then if you really care about my passion, like, share and subscribe. So as you can see here, this is the final product, and this looks kind of cool. And here you can see I've put some separators in there, as I can open this, because as I've shown you, this portion is speaker and down there is my amplifier, So if something wrong happens, then I have to open it, and for that I've just put it separated. And I've also put the USB connector like this. As you can see, I've put some hot glue in there and made a cardboard thingy which runs all around. It has those resistors, so it heats up a little bit, but that is not enough to melt the hot glue. So that's kind of cool. And in the back side, and as you can see in the back side, I have this partition for my power bank, and my power bank can just go inside this, just like this, and you can see it can go all the way down there, and I can connect this USB port to here. And here you can see it's a little bit kind of messy, but I've also put this wire holder in here. When it is not in use, we can put this thing in here. As you can see, I've not painted this yet. I'll just paint all this thing up to actually look more cool. So let's listen for the first time how it sounds. And I've also connected my power bank in here with the cable, and I'm not putting that in partition because there is something I want to show you, and that's a cool nice feature of this speaker which I invented. Let's first switch it on. As you can see, I'll switch on the power bank. There we go. And then put this switch. Here you can see the nice LED glowing on there. There we go. As you can see, this does its job pretty well. Let's pump up the volume a little bit more. Now let's turn it on with the bass. Right, the sounds breaks like before. I have to put the volume a little bit down. The bass is absolute garbage. Now to give you a more real scoop, I'm gonna use my recorder to actually show you how it sounds. Turn it on. And for these bass holes, let me show you what actually the bass coming out from here. I can feel the air a little bit. Kind of. I'm now gonna pump up the bass. Sides, therefore treble on it. Holy sh! The camera fell. My camera fell. My setup kills me. So I've decided to test the vocals, okay? So that doesn't need any bass, so I'm gonna turn it off. Now that one of the main components of a boost converter is a inductor. I've also shown you how to. As you can see, this goes pretty loud and also pretty good. So let me show you the feature now. Now as you can see, as I pause the playback, my power banks turns off automatically, and that's the cool feature I'm talking about. And so there's no power wastage. It goes to sleep mode, and if you don't play anything up to 1 minute, then it will completely shut down. And as you can see, this is the cool feature I was talking about. And let me show you, as soon as I play the video again, it turns on automatically. Now let's go. 3, 2, 1. There we go. But I did it in my serial monitor because I do not have any external SSD. External is. Now as I again pause the playback, see what happens. turns off automatically. CD, okay? If you haven't watched this video yet, I have put link up in here to watch this video. It's kind of cool. Now, to give you a real more scoop, I'm on other room now, and as you can see, it's pretty loud. See? My speaker is in there, and I can still listen it clearly.
Go to our browser and go to Arduino.
Don't you?
There you go. It off.
So guys, if you like this, give it a thumbs up, thumbs down for the opposite, and share with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, then do subscribe and press that notification bell icon to get notified about my latest uploads. Okay, this is Malhar, you are watching Outta Syllabus, and I am signing off.